Oh yeah, we've got lots of, well, thank you so much, Sue. It means a lot that you did, like, gave this great introduction. I asked Sue if she could speak a little bit longer tonight because I can't speak that much tonight. I don't know if you can tell this or not, but I am losing my voice and kind of sick right now. But I'm on antibiotics, so I promise I am not contagious. It means the world that you all showed up, and Sue, for you taking the reins here, explaining what we have going on here in Iowa and why we have so much hope here. Senator Bob, great to see you. Senator Rob Polk, Senator Liz Mathis, State Rep Todd Taylor, and his lovely wife Kim, who are also family to me. And Carson, oh hi. I haven't seen him in so long. I used to help when I was in the State House for Todd Taylor. I was his clerk for a couple of years. I'd even babysit Sydney and Carson, and Carson was a lot shorter then. Oh my goodness, it always blows my mind when I get to see him. But oh my goodness, Peggy and Jim and Tail, thank you so much for everything, putting this on. I'm so sorry that I'm not my usual self today, but we are here, and we are here because it's important, and because you all showed up because you care. And because you have hope that we can do this, and you know that everything is on the line for our state and our country this year. And I just wanted to tell you a big part of why I decided to do this in the first place. In 2017, it was actually right around Valentine's Day. I was in the State House serving, I think I was at that time my third year in the State House. I'm standing there with my Democratic colleagues. They had just gutted collective bargaining in our state, the Republicans. And when we got up there to take the vote, to vote no on collective bargaining, we made them call out our names, and we all stood up. A lot of us put our fists up in the air in solidarity with the workers across the state and up in the gallery. I mean, these are our corrections officers. These are our teachers, our bus drivers. I mean, folks who are just working their tails off, trying to provide a good life for their family, and worried about now their health care, about their wages, everything. And I remember in that moment, with my fists up in the air, looking up in that gallery, and thinking, this is not how we treat people here in my state or my country. And I vowed in that moment I was going to do whatever I could to get my state and country back. So that's why I decided to do this, because it was so dang personal. I grew up a daughter of a union pipe fitter welder. My mom, she just retired from the school district back in February, and there's 4 of us in my family. We're all first-generation college graduates, still paying off student loans, so not always easy. But at the end of the day, I grew up in a state and in a country with the idea that if you worked hard, you could make it. That's what we were told. That's what we were promised. And unfortunately, I mean, that's becoming nearly impossible because of the policies being pushed by Rod Blum. And speaking of Rod Blum, he and I were actually elected the exact same time in 2014. So that's when he became our congressman, and that's when I became a state representative. But I assure you, that's where our similarities end. Because, he has spent the last 4 years in DC doing everything in his power, making it harder for my friends, my family, and the folks in this room. And in contrast, I've been in that state house along with the fine folks up here, fighting hard every single day against the attacks of going after wages, going after our workers, our public education, women in our health care, our environment, you name it, they have gone after it in the state of Iowa. And I tell you what, I haven't just been a vote against those attacks, I have been a voice every single time. So that's also why I'm running for Congress. And I tell you what, when I first decided to do this, there were a lot of folks who said it couldn't be done. That a Democrat couldn't win in Iowa, that a young woman couldn't win in Iowa. Well, I knew they were wrong, but I didn't know exactly why until the first couple of months out there talking to folks, whether it be in the cities or in rural Iowa. And what I realized really quickly was that, 2018 wasn't going to come down to whether you were Democratic or Republican. It was going to come down to whether you cared about people or did you not. And the Iowa that I grew up in, we care about our neighbors. That is who we are. We step up for each other. And that is why I have so much hope here. And see, that's the other thing. Remember, we used to talk a lot about hope. 2008, you remember that? I think it's about time we start talking about hope again. Because you see, we are not a country or a state that grows from fear and division. We are a country and a state that grows from hope. Hope in the idea that you'll work hard and you're not just able to make a living, you're able to have a really good life. Hope in the idea that you can send your kids to some good public schools. And guess what? They can do better than you did. Hope in the idea that, God forbid you get sick, you don't have to file for bankruptcy. And hope in the idea that if you're like my sister and brother-in-law, who currently live on and work on a corn and soybean farm, that they're able to work hard and pass it on to my little nephew Jordy one day, and not be worried about a trade war that this administration started on Twitter. Hope, my friends, is what is on the line and on the ballot here in 2018. This is why we can't let up. We can't stop working. This is why, even though I might be losing my voice, we show up and we have these conversations. Because I'm here to ask you to help us have these conversations with your friends and family. To go knock some doors, make some phone calls, and talk to folks who may have voted the other way last time. Because these conversations have never been more important than they are right now. We have to tell our stories. We have to talk to our friends, folks again across the aisle. We've got to do this. It is our state and our country that is on the line right now. When we win back this congressional seat, not only can we take back that U.S. House, we can take back the State House, and we can take back that governor's mansion. Yeah. Whatever you're doing right now, you showed up today, thank you. Now think, what more can you do in these next 100 days, because we're almost there, we're almost 100 days away. Whether that be donate more, which we will always take because we've got to tell our story. And I tell you what we know is that when folks know who I am, what I stand for, where I come from, and they know who Rod Blum is, we will win hands down. We need support from the folks in this room. And if you can't give monetarily, completely understand, we need you on the doors and we need you on the phone. Whatever you can do a little bit more. Again, it has never been more important. I'm sure you've all heard this every single year, right? Of your whole lives, that there's never been an election more important. But right now, this is more true than ever. And so I vow to you today that I'm going to keep this up. I am not going to let up. I don't care how many times the vice president or president decides to come into this district, insult my friends and family who are farmers, not talk to them, and come here and sit there next to Rod Blum while our entire economy falls apart. We are going to keep this fight up. We're going to make sure that they know who we are, and we're going to make sure that we take this message to Washington, D.C. to remind all the folks who have forgot about us in this room just who we are and what's on the line here. So thank you all so much. I should stop talking now, so I don't lose it completely.
I'll I'll jump in right now. I'm Todd Taylor, and I'm proud to be here. My wife Kim and I and Carson are here, as Abby introduced. We've known Abby for a long time, and we know her work ethic. And a couple of years she worked for me as my legislative aide, and then she went on in Dubuque to get elected to the state house. She's got a great background, her family and her upbringing. So, you know, what's going on in the national level, and the president in the House and Senate, and the state level, and the governor in the House and Senate, it's all very, very disconcerting, right? So a week ago and last month, there was crowds like this showing up, and this is just July. So we've got almost coming up on 100 days. But we got to get people energized, and who's got flipboards? There's flipboards around here, so you can sign up, just put your name down, they'll call you. Hey, can you make a few phone calls? You know, one of the things that, as was mentioned, President of the United States is coming to town. And he's doing that to bolster up our current congressman. A number of years ago, I got this cool shirt that says U.S. House of Representatives. I haven't worn it for a while because I'm not proud of that right now. I wore it tonight because I want to be proud of it here in a few weeks, or a few months. But the bottom line is, our current congressman is not representing us. I don't know about his work ethic. I know about hers, right? And so we can all band together, and I'm proud to be on the ballot with her. Well, I'll be running for the state senate down a little bit here in the northwest, southwest Cedar Rapids. But we've got a lot of great candidates. Thank you for the energy. Don't forget about the clipboards, and just give them the number and the name, they'll call you. And it won't be hard. They won't burn you out, but they'll just keep going, because we've got to get the word out, network, and I'll pitch it over to anyone else. Sure,